Great. This is David.
Nice to meet everybody.
What do you prefer, Dave or David? I should know
I
this.
think David.
Because he's a grown-ass man. Got it. Fun. Jimmy. Aaron.
Madeline.
Ernie. I'm Cobie.
So as we know, Stumptown is based on Ruckus Comics. Is how true to the source material do you have taken a lot of liberties already? Do we know?
There's a lot of characters. I mean, obviously mine is the character who plays my brother Ansel is in the. Oh, is it going to be that close? So this is going to be okay. I'll do it. From the graphic novel. Gray McConnell.
And there's some gender swaps.
There's some gender bending.
Yeah, I think Cameron's client, or Cameron's character was a man. Yeah.
Should we do the whole interview?
Yes, together.
Where we together and we talk like this the whole time.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, Cameron's character was a man in the comic book, and also Michael's character was a woman in the comic book. But I think generally, we're taking from, this is the city of Portland. We're taking from there was the pilot is pretty derivative of that first issue, right?
And I think the thematics and the care in which Greg Rucka kind of wrote the characters, and they're there, and I think that's the spirit of the graphic novels.
I do a lot of the same smirks that are drawn, where it's just like.
She looks wildly like the original drawn character.
Yeah, that is a thing. That's a funny thing too. Weirdly channeled into this. Did that answer your question? Okay. I go off track, so just put me back on it.
So from what we've seen in the trailer so far, you seem like a very fierce female, but with flaws. So what drew you to this role when you first read the script?
I like playing messy characters. I like playing characters that can't really be described, or characters that also shift and change throughout the project. And I thought to myself, if I'm going to do a series again, which you never know how long they're going to go, but if I'm going to do it again, I want it to be with somebody who is constantly changing and surprising even me. So yeah, she's very flawed. She has very severe PTSD because she was in the military and suffered some major traumas. She is a guardian to her younger brother, which is something I don't think she ever expected her life in her life. She's sexually fluid. She's an addict. She's all sorts of things. So it's sort of, as an actor, you're able to play a lot of different things, and you're not just hitting the same notes all the time. And then we have such an amazing cast of characters, and it's a what was I calling it recently? I was calling it an action dramedy. Which, because before I'd always I'd be like, I like dark comedies. I like dark comedies because there's a little bit of both, but this is that plus action. So for me, it was a really intriguing challenge to make myself a better performer, and also just to keep myself entertained.
How much did you talk to Greg in terms of finding the voice and finding your own kind of performance? But I mean, Greg's obviously she's lived in Greg's head for so long.
Yeah.
So.
I wish I would have maybe had a conversation with Greg before we started shooting. It happens so fast, these things sometimes. I think I signed on and maybe
3 weeks later,
2 to 3 weeks later we were shooting. So it was really my own journey of reading the comic books and then doing research. I've played characters that have a history with the military before, so I knew some things but continued to do more research, because whenever you're playing somebody who's been in service, you always want to get that right and pay the respect it deserves. But now that I know Greg and I talk to him, I know a lot more and feel a lot smarter.
But she's amazing in the pilot, and I think it's one of those things where you can watch it and people will like it or not like it, but I think one thing that's undeniable is how good she is, and it's a really amazing performance that hopefully kind of showcases and kind of puts a female character on television that's never been on before, and kind of empowers others to feel better about their lives.
And also Greg did such a great job of with these graphic novels. You know, I was able to understand the character so well, and it's one of the reasons I said yes, because I could understand what this character was in the world that she lived in so clearly. I didn't have to. I mean, I did take a trust fall with David, but it was still like there was a very strong safety net because of the graphic novel.
How much was Matthew brought on as far as, you know, kind of more, obviously his work's a visual reference, but, you know, in terms of, you know, how he visualized Portland and using that as
I think we used his storyboards, you know, as a reference. I think James Griffiths and Magni, who's the DP in the pilot, did a beautiful job in terms of framing. When you see the pilot, just kind of the color palette, and you can see the inspiration from the original source material, but I think they definitely kind of expanded on that, and obviously it's a different medium, but it definitely was, I think, a tonal or spiritual influence.
With her military background, she's a fighter, she knows how to fight. Did you develop a style for her? Because the trailer seems dirty and gray. How do you see her fight?
Yeah, I mean, I think her style is that she has no style. I think that this is like one of the things I love about the pilot is like one of the first times we get into the fighting sequence of the pilot is she just gets hit really hard in the face, and you know, you don't really see women taking a punch. You see women like executing amazing moves and like taking down a bunch of people, but you don't see somebody getting hit. And I think that there is a strength in that where you get hit and then you get up again and you fight again, and you get hit down and you get hit and you fall down again, you come back. And she has she's extremely resilient, and I think that that's one of her major strengths. And I think in terms of the choreography, because she is a woman, because she's going up against opponents that have 100+ pounds on her, we're going to have to be really inventive about using props lying around, using a bat, using a beer bottle, using whatever she can. And you know, she's more of a scrapper than a highly trained, you know, spy. Like, this is a woman who is just, you know, been in a lot of bar fights over beer. And she can take a punch and she knows how to give it too, but she's really smart and she knows her strengths.
And I think that's the spirit of the show, and what initially drew us to the graphic novel was we're treating the character like a human. She's a real person who is flawed, takes a punch. You know, for 4/5 of the pilot, she has a black eye and her face is affected by taking a punch, and it's the way that male characters are always treated on television and film, and it feels like women haven't been allowed to be treated. And I think in doing so, I think we kind of humanize these characters and really kind of hopefully inspire and kind of give other women strength watching a strong female that's treated like a real person succeeding.
Can you talk more about her relationship with her brother?
We haven't really gone into the history of why she is the sole guardian at this point. I mean, I have ideas about it, but basically, you know, there's I would say 15-year difference between the two. It's a pretty big split. So she's become, you know, somewhat of this weird mother role model for him, or certainly the one who's supposed to be the most responsible, but she is not equipped for that. So they've sort of created their own relationship, their own dynamic. She certainly, I think that she is probably the most honest, the most vulnerable with her brother than anybody else. Yeah.
And I think the character Ansel kind of grounds her, kind of tethers her to Portland and tethers her a little bit.
Right.
But Wayne is also kind of like is a lie detector. He's like right? So he calls her on her bullshit and knows when she's lying to herself or lying to him. And it's a sweet relationship.